In the budgeting chapter, the next topic that we are going to study is called variance analysis. We have used the term variance frequently while talking about the budget. Now we'll look what is variance analysis and try to see how the calculations of the variance are done. A variance is simply a difference between the actual sales and actual expenses and the budgeted sales and the budgeted expenses. Difference between actual figures and the budgeted figures. We do the variance analysis after the end of the budgetary period. For example, if we make the financial accounts at the 31st December 2022, and we'll see how the budgeted figures have been doing different from the actual figures in 2022. It is important to calculate the analysis. There are a number of reasons for doing the variance analysis. Reasons because of which we do variance. First of all, variance measures the difference from the planned performance of each department over a given period. Variance measure differences. Our sales department was saying that we are going to do sales of 15 million. The actual sales are only 12 million. So it will help us to measure the performance against the planned one. Measures the actual performance against the planned one. Secondly, we can also try to find out the reasons because those variances have been occurred. So finding out that reasons basically can help us to make more realistic budget in the future. Can try to find the reasons because of which those variances have been occurred. And this will also help us to make more realistic figures, to quote more realistic figures in the future. Finding out the reasons of variance can help the business to take better decisions. Can help business to take better decisions. For example, if the revenue variance for a business was negative because of the lower sales caused by an economic recession, then business can take decision about to reduce price for the future. And this will be the right decision to reduce the price, because if the sales are not being done because of the low income of the people, it's good to reduce the price and increase the sales for the future. Similarly, if we do variance analysis, the performance of each individual cost center and profit center may be appraised according to that accurate objectives, by the way. The performance of each cost center and profit center will be appraised accordingly. If we want to give them appraisals, increase in salaries or whatever, it will be based on their actual performance and according to the budgeted performance. Now we'll look into the, there are two types of variances. One is called the favorable variance, when the sales figures are higher than the budgeted figures. Actual sales figures are higher than the budgeted figures. These will be called positive variance. Positive or favorable variance. And similarly, if expenses are less than the planned expenses, this is also favorable variance. And there is adverse variance. This is when the sales are less than the planned figure and the expenses are more than the planned figures. Let's talk about what are the possible causes of adverse variance. Possible causes of adverse variance. Revenue, if revenue is below the budgeted, if because the fewer units are sold, or there are some other reasons, it might be because of some competition. Low revenue. As I told you, both things can happen. You might have sold lesser units, or you might have sold at lesser price. It might be because of high competition in market. Now we can plan accordingly in future what to do with that high competition. If raw material costs are high, then we plan, for example, we plan to buy the raw material at $2 each and we bought it $4 each. It might be because the raw material cost in the overall market has been increased, because the import prices has increased, because the government has put some taxes on that. Raw material variance, adverse one, because of, as I told you, import prices, because of higher taxes. Etc. If labor cost is above the calculated budgeted level, it might be because government has enforced you to pay more wages in the form of minimum wage law or something like that. Or there might be another reason. For example, you thought that labor will take 5 days to complete a task and labor took it 7 days, so you will have to pay the salary of the 7 days. Labor cost may be high because of minimum wage law, or because labor is taking more days. To produce goods as you planned. Overhead cost might rise. There might be a number of reasons for this. For example, rent is high. For example, interest is high. You might have to pay more salaries to the supervisors, etc. Now, what might be the possible causes of favorable variance? Causes of favorable variance. There might be a number of reasons for the favorable variance. For example, revenue is above the budget because you are selling at the higher selling price, for example, or there is an unexpected economic growth in market. Selling at higher prices and people are still buying it, or as I told you, there is an economic growth in the market and people can afford the higher prices, or there is a competitor who has been closed and because of that your product demand is increasing. Raw material cost might be lower because government has reduced some taxes on that, or the unit cost of raw material has been fallen because there are more competitors in the selling of raw material and they are selling at the lower price. Raw material cost has fallen because of, as I told you, lower taxes by the government, or because of more competition in the raw material market. Labor cost is low because there is a trend to pay low labor cost and government has removed a minimum wage law. tendency to pay lower wages, or government has removed the minimum wage law, or the business has opted capital intensive technique in which the labor cost is low because you do not have to pay a salary to the capital, and overhead cost might be low because there is lower interest rate, or the business has reduced its loan, business has repaid most of its loans, and now business is paying lower interest and other stuff. Rent is reduced because of some government law, for example, uh, interest cost is reduced, etc. These are the reasons because of which the costs of business has been reduced, and there will be might some favorable variance in this market. So these were the favorable and unfavorable variance, and this was the method by the help of which we do variance analysis.